Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Ritter of Channel 7 Eyewitness News, WABC TV, and welcome once again to the countdown. So much riding on the shoulders of President Biden. Yes, about the economy, but mostly it's about something called the coronavirus and the pandemic and the recession that it caused. Lots of worries. No way to get around back into the recession and away from it unless we solve and get away from the pandemic. Joining us to talk about this, our political team, ABC News Political Director Rick Klein and veteran political consultant Hank Scheikoff. Gentlemen, welcome once again to the countdown. Rick, let's start with you. Did I say that approximately right? I mean, he can't do anything unless this pandemic wanes.
Yeah, it's interesting, Bill, because I think it actually cuts in two different directions. One is that the Biden White House recognizes that without solving the pandemic, there's really no point in doing anything else because people are going to judge him on that alone. And the second point is that right now we're in a position where you have to figure out over the long term what this is going to look like, because this is going to be a fact of life. The idea of a mission accomplished moment, a moment that you can say it's totally done, that is a distant dream. And I think it is for the foreseeable future, we're going to be in a position where there's going to be some risk associated. There's going to be people that refuse vaccines. There's going to be breakthrough cases. There's going to be new variants. And that's a hard thing to communicate as a political leader, that you have a new reality in your life. It's not about saying you're free of the disease. You're going to have to live with this as a fact for a long time. Yeah,
and not only that, but we didn't have a lot of jobs created in this last month, down to 210,000. They thought they'd get 500,000 jobs, and they didn't. The unemployment, Hank, still down to 4.2%. So there's not a lot of people available for jobs. That's called zero unemployment at 4.2%. But there are not a lot of new jobs either. So something's going on weird with the economy.
It's very weird. And by the way, he'll forever be known probably historically as bad luck Biden. He can't get anything going his direction. The economy not working the way it should. The job creation is not working the way they should. The number of people available for the jobs that people don't want, insignificant. An economy that should be buzzing better. And the coronavirus, which in every stage can't seem to dissipate.
I'm not sure he would like to be called Bad News Biden, but it's certainly kinder than some of the commentators on one particular cable news network. They would never call him that. That's too nice, I guess, for them anyway. Let's talk about what happened this past week, Rick, because we had the Senate, 16 Republican senators voting with the Democrats to keep the economy and the government open, not shut down by February 18th at least. Hopefully they can get the BBB Biden bill back together with that. But it also means that 26 or more than 24 Republicans voted to not fund the government. What does that tell you?
To shut it down specifically because they wanted to undo the mandates, the mask mandates that President Biden has put into place. That's what this showdown was about. I think the majority of members of the Senate and the House, they're sick of the brinksmanship politics. And there's a school of thought in the Republican Party that says as long as you're only doing a kind of week by week funding, you're not expanding government, that's a bit of a win. I don't think it changes the prospects realistically for Build Back Better. I think we're well into the new year until Senator Joe Manchin is going to be comfortable with that. And even then, it may not happen. But I do think it's nice to be able to breathe for once. I think this is one of those days where we could easily be talking about a government shutdown, the needless pain and worry and frankly, wasted resources around that. So at least for the time being, we're off that brink.
So it's a 2-month breathe easier, Hank, not a kumbaya moment, right?
Absolutely. Look, no one wants to really vote to take pay away from military people, which is what the shutdown might mean. But that's okay. They can get away with that. But voting to get people working, voting to take care of real social needs in this country, well, Republicans are going to have a hard time with that always, and this is no different.
And won't it be a boon to the Democrats? And the clock is ticking here. There's no question about that until the midterm elections. But if this bill doesn't pass, this Build Back Better bill, so much of the economic firecracker that they need underneath it to get going depends on this bill, Rick.
Yeah, look, I think that the entirety of the Democratic agenda now rides in this one bill. It's a huge bill. And there is, though, a concern in the other direction that pumping more resources into the economy means overheating inflation, that higher prices all around, and that's its own recipe. And this is a tough cycle to get out of because there's a lot of things in life that can be spun, that you can talk about in different ways. But if people are feeling the bite every time they fill up their cars or they go to the grocery store, you can't really give speeches to explain to people why they're wrong about that. And I think that's what worries Democrats. I think as they realize how difficult this political environment is that this cycle in particular around rising prices is just extraordinarily difficult to get out of.
You want the last word on this, Hank?
President is expected to control everything, and here's a question where he can't control very much. It puts him and his party in a terrible position.
We only have about 30 seconds left. I just want to raise one issue. If the economy wasn't in the shape it is, if the pandemic wasn't threatening to grow even faster and bigger. Might we be talking about gun control? No one's saying anything about it. Rick?
Yeah, it's such a sad state that we're immune almost politically to new information around the gun control debate. It's a horrific shooting, totally preventable in its own ways. It would seem like there were warning signs, and it is awful that debate cannot get advanced at the federal level.
Warning signs, and the parents have now been charged with involuntary manslaughter, Hank.
Yeah, but it's only one circumstance, unfortunately, of many circumstances. So long as you have homicide rates across the country going up overall, people are going to rationalize the fact that we don't really need gun control when, in fact, we need it very badly.
Yes, no question. Okay, both of you, I appreciate it very much. Rick Klein, Hank Scheinkloff, we'll see you next time for the countdown. Thanks, guys. And a reminder, you can get the latest headlines of news or politics and much more on our website, ABC7NY, and our connected TV apps. I'm Bill Ritter, and from all of us here at WABC TV and ABC7NY.com, we do wish you health and peace. And let's take care of each other.